which dates back to the 1930s, also making the station handicap accessible, and there will be a new entrance installed as a part of the one. Hi everyone, I'm Malik, and if you're new here, welcome to the channel. If you've been here, welcome back. So glad to have you. You look mighty fine today. I am really excited, if you can't tell, to do this video because I just feel like I have knowledge that everyone needs to know. And I just want to give it to you. If you're new to the channel, I focus on embracing our humanity and just sort of leveling up to the best we can be, our highest selves. I also work on telling the stories of our generation because I'm a student journalist, and on that front, I am a journalism and sociology double major at Ithaca College. I'm in my third year at IC, and during that time, I've had one internship with ABC's Localish, and so ABC has specific stations that they own across the country, news stations, and so Localish was focused on digging out those local stories in those communities that ABC serves and then highlighting them on a national scale. So pretty cool work. TWA Hotel at JFK Airport in New York City, where people are getting a splash of the past.
Welcome to TWA. Up, up, and away.
Good morning, guys. Here at Eyewitness News this morning. That's what's on right now, and then Candace is right here, and then she is actually right there. And you can see the Fox crew getting ready. Right, I feel like you're probably like, how are you going to help me get an internship? You've only had one. I didn't get that internship traditionally. And not only that, but I also didn't have any experience, any internship experience, I should add, going in. And I feel like this is like, my path has been very interesting, and I feel like it could be really helpful to people that are trying to get an internship or are just trying to navigate the whole networking internship space to make sure that they have something this summer. So in my first year of college, Instagram, yes, like the official Instagram, the producer, one of the producers on the official Instagram account that at the time had like 230 million plus followers, called me up and said, hey, why don't we fly you to DC and you can tell the story of the March for Our Lives. I'm high up over the crowd here at the March for Our Lives. You can see the hundreds of thousands that have come out. They are now chanting, vote them out. And it's something that many of the speakers have brought up here today. That opportunity really catapulted me to get more opportunities within Instagram. And that really was only because I had taken my Instagram pretty seriously. I mean, it wasn't like, I wasn't taking it like a job, like I wasn't like being crazy about it, but I was sharing my work and the things that I was doing on my Instagram. And so I feel like the first thing you can do to help yourself if you have no internship experience or really no experience at all is to begin to take something seriously. Whether you start a YouTube channel, whether you start a blog, whether you do TikTok, just start sharing the work that you're doing towards your dreams and goals, because that will allow for anyone who comes across that page and is in a position of power to be able to help you or be able to give you an opportunity for them to be like, this is exactly who we want. I did have one sort of like, again, like a freelance opportunity thing that I was doing before that I was sharing my work on, right? It was with airlinegeeks.com. It was like this blog and airline news site, and we were high school and college kids, and we just put aviation news on it. And I did reports, I put them on YouTube, I did everything. That was so fun. It was just like me, wasn't getting paid. It was just like chill, but it was also like doing professional work, even though we were really young. I think taking the opportunity to actually take one of your platforms seriously, no matter what your career aspiration is, even if you want to be a nurse, if you're like talking about it and you show yourself as a leader in the industry, even if you're really young, it can be super beneficial to you in getting an experience or an opportunity, because it's going to look like you're really well versed in the industry that the opportunity is calling from. If I didn't take my Instagram seriously in terms of being a student journalist and in terms of sharing that, I wouldn't have gotten that opportunity with Instagram. If I wasn't excited about it and sharing it and telling people about it, there was really no way that they would have found me. So the reason that I mentioned that is because that is what led to me getting invited to Facebook's Accelerate Local News Summit. It was a conference in Denver, Colorado, and I had the opportunity to go there.
And one final time for pick up any remaining service items, and if you could bring your seat to the upright position and stow your tray tables. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Denver.
Spend the whole conference and learn all about local news and learn about news deserts and all this type of stuff with all of these industry leaders from across the country and especially from the West Coast, which, because I'm in the East Coast, that was a really, really great opportunity. I saw that this lady from ABC was there and I was like, oh my gosh, I've had mentors from ABC. I've had all these people, that I know from ABC that have helped me during my time in high school. Why don't I just introduce myself to this person? And it didn't really go as planned, to be completely honest. It was kind of like, hi, bye, you know what I mean? But then, because I wasn't afraid during the conference to speak up, and people started to learn how I got invited and all of that, she wound up wanting to make sure that we were in touch. And then after the conference, she connected me to one of her colleagues who wound up being an alum of my school, and my boss at the internship's boss, if that makes sense. My boss's boss. And then from there, I was able to go and get this opportunity and do the interview. So it was really a lot of zigzags to get this opportunity, this internship. There is no one path to getting an internship. I didn't go log on to disney.careers.com or whatever it is and apply to everything that was there, even if I wasn't interested. That is not how you get an opportunity, in my opinion. I mean, maybe it works for some, but I think that's a really stressful way to probably not even get an opportunity, because I've done that for different things, right? I've went on to CNN's website and applied to everything possible, and it just that doesn't work, at least in my experience. So clearly you're probably like, well, how do I attend a conference and meet someone really cool who then connects me to someone else who then helps me get this internship when we're in a pandemic, right? So there are virtual conferences. I know that there are also free opportunities out there. I feel like you have to look for them, but they are out there, they do exist. If there's a conference that really has people that you want to connect with, maybe it's worth paying for it. I don't know. Maybe if you really think that there will be some sort of way for you to get something. But I wouldn't put pressure on you to pay for a conference just because there's no guarantee with going to a conference that you're gonna meet someone. I've been to tons of conferences and none of them other than that one have led to an internship. So, or at least tons of events and things like that. If you do go, I would say listen to anyone that's in your field, and if you hear anyone say anything that you're like, oh, I like that, or oh, I've done this opportunity, or oh, there's something that I could help with that, then those are the people that you want to write down their name and cold email them and say so literally in the subject line, just listen to you at XY conference. I'm a student at whatever college, because that will, or I'm a, whatever your major is, explaining how you could help them and why you want to connect, and of course making it really brief that you just loved what they said. You never know what can happen, right? So I think not being afraid to cold email people is also a really huge tip. And to do that, you literally just have to guess their email. I have went back and forth with the mailer delivery system when it's this is not a real email address, and you just have to keep guessing and you'll hopefully get it. I feel like I've only hit a block where I couldn't find someone's email once or twice, but most emails, if you know one person at the company, if you can find one person at the company's email, you have the format for most, if not all of the emails. If you don't go to a conference, but you see that someone has done something really, really cool, I think don't be afraid to email them anyway. If you see a news article about someone you think is inspiring, or if you see something cool that a company's doing that you would want to intern at, or you're curious, do they have interns for this? Don't be afraid to reach out to the people in charge of those departments. I'm sure that they're gonna wanna hear from people who are young and who are thinking of things that they might not be thinking of and who could help them. And it doesn't have to be the people who are in charge of the department, or, it could just be someone who works there. Because literally when I was in Denver, I got to go to a news station there. I was like, is Liz Kotelik here? This reporter that I just looked up to for years. And she wound up being there, and literally is such a mentor, such an inspiration, and she's really helped me. And you never know who is going to be helpful to you. You never know. And I think that's why it's important to always be looking to expand your network, even if you're thinking, well, how could this really help? Or how could, you don't necessarily see a path for how someone could help you. I think as long as you think they're inspiring, and as long as you think they will bring some sort of value and teach you something, or you'll learn something, or you just want to connect with them, I feel like it's never the wrong thing to do. If it comes from a genuine place of wanting to talk with someone, wanting to connect with someone, do it, because you just never know who is going to be willing to vouch for you, who is going to be willing to help you, who's going to be willing to critique your work so that you can get better work. Because as a journalism major, you'll have something called a reel if you want to be on air. And so what happens with that is that, you'll see that you want your reel to improve. And so knowing different people and reporters who have done it before you is really, really helpful. When you do finally get connected to someone who can offer you an internship, you really want to be able to show them why, right? And that doesn't mean that you have to have this corporate experience. That doesn't mean you have to have experience in a similar workplace or in a workplace at all. That just means that you need to have the work. You need to be able to show them something. And so if you're a journalism major, a reel, you can go outside to news stories on your own and make your own reel. You can find stories, you can create stories. You don't need to work at a company to do that. If you want to have a blog, if you want to do social media, if you want to, you don't have to have any corporate experience for you to prove that you'd be a good intern or that you're a good candidate. And so I think that that's what's really important to remember, is that it's not about, making sure that you have all of this experience. It's just that making sure that you have done the best that you can to make yourself marketable in the field that you're going into. That does mean experience, just not experience in the way I think that most people think of it. I mentioned how my boss's boss was an alum of my school. That is huge. I would definitely check in with your school's alumni network. My school has a professional development coordinator for my School of Communications, the Park School of Communications. So we have the resources and the people who can help us make sure that we're connected in the right ways, because at least at my school, Ithaca College alums are amazing and consistently are willing to help out Ithaca students. So I would really, check out if your school has the same vibe, because when you're able to find someone like that, they want to help you so much that it just works out. Also, if you go on LinkedIn, you can look up your school, look up people that went there. You can also just look up people and see if they went to your school, right? Read their bios on their job website, right? Try to see if you can connect with someone who went to your school so that you already have something in common. That way, they're gonna be able to remember when they were in your shoes and hopefully be a little bit more willing to help you than if you were just emailing someone randomly. I think that the power in that relationship of a current student meeting an alum is something that you should, again, take advantage of. So now that you have someone willing to help you get an internship, they've connected you to someone, or you've met the exact person you needed to meet, or you created your own internship, you pitched something to a company. You can do anything. The possibilities are endless. There are no limits. The only limits are the ones that you are thinking exist. So just drop them. You can do anything to get yourself an internship. Let's just say that, you got it. You got the interview. Now what? I think for the interview, especially if you're coming in with no work experience from a professional place, you want to make sure that you know the company that you are trying to intern at, so that you can ask questions that are smart, right? And more than the company, I think it's just important to know, because then you can really have a fluent conversation. And maybe because I do that, I don't even realize the impact of it. But I think even more so, it's important to know your industry. Because if you have an idea of where your industry stands at a point of, in terms of culture, right? You can ask really, really good questions. You can have a really, really good conversation versus just thinking that it's this attack on you from the person who's interviewing you, which that's not what it is. They want to hire you, or at least they should be thinking for reasons to hire you, not looking for reasons to not hire you. And if they're thinking negatively, then maybe that's not a place you want to work for. Most of all, know your story. Know how you can help. Know how your experiences are valuable to this company. Know the magical moments of your story so that you can share those, right? Things that just make people stop and be like, wow, that's cool, or whoa, like how did that happen? Or just those kind of moments that people are going to be questioning or have thoughts about, or makes them feel something. You're on this journey, you're super young, you're learning, like that's informing how you're gonna be as an intern. And I think allowing them to see that is super cool, and shouldn't, like, don't hide you in the interview. And that is a wrap. You got the internship like that. The future you has the internship of your dreams. You just have to believe it, and you got to start doing the work right now. So even if, again, you don't have any professional corporate experience, that is fine. Drop that idea that you need that. You need to start establishing yourself in some sort of way and doing whatever work is required in your industry, no matter how small or big of a scale that is at, and then the opportunities will begin to come, right? And it doesn't, again, have to be a 9-to-5 internship thing. It just needs to be opportunities. It just needs to be work. You can make that happen. So start working toward it today. Editing Malik here. Hi, I just wanted to quickly give you some final tips because I feel like the way I said this in the video didn't really work out. Number one, please understand that this is a very subjective process. When you are applying for internships, you need to understand that there are a lot of different factors, right? There is the fact that some companies accept no interns. Some companies accept one only for each position or something like that. And then some will say, hey, we'll hire like 20 interns, who cares? So just understand that. Also, please know that there is nepotism inside some of these companies. It doesn't always, it's not always your fault that you didn't get an internship. And then another thing I want to say is that it's very, very important that you know that applying on these websites it's just like, I feel like a lot of times you are sending your application into a void. And of course, I have gotten an interview from applying online and with a reference. I think making the connection is a much better way, focusing on who knows you and who can actually vouch for you, and all of that I think is more important than just going on these websites and applying knowing no one at a company. I think it's better to try to get a reference, try to get something, and try to make sure someone on the inside can say, this person, we need to have this person as our intern, versus you just going on not knowing anyone and applying. I feel like that it's just there's too many people applying for internships, at least in my industry, that it's almost, I feel like, counterproductive to send your application into a void of hundreds, if not thousands, of applications. So, yeah, that is that. Of course, you can still apply online. I would still do that, but I would just very much think about trying to make a connection and trying to grow your network and who you know. And honestly, it's fun. It's not like a pressure thing. It's like, you should want to know people in your industry. You should want to connect with them. You should want to hear their ideas. I don't want you to feel bad if you don't get a specific internship. Don't be so set on one thing. Be very open, but at the same time know what you want, and be willing to ask and apply for that. Don't be the person that tells you no. Don't be the person that rejects you. Be the person that completely accepts you and wants you to keep pushing for the things that you want. And are you ready for a very unpopular opinion? Don't intern. Why do you want to intern? Just makes the whole video about interning, and it's like, don't intern. If you need money and are in college, intern. Totally. But if it is a really stressful process, you feel like you're getting nowhere, maybe your summer could be spent doing something else. Maybe you could be working in another opportunity. Maybe you could be building your brand. Maybe you could be finding other streams of income that you actually are interested in. Maybe you could create something. Maybe you could continue to build work, right? So that when you do have the idea of the internship you want. I know for first year students, it is extremely hard your first year in college to get an internship, at least in my industry. If it's not working out, don't feel like you have to intern, like that is, because that was the advice that was given to me time and time again. Intern, 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 intern. There are other ways to grow and to make sure that you're in a good position to get a job after college. It's not just interning. If you can do work, if you can get opportunities, if you can put yourself out there, do that. And just like make sure that you really want to intern. Don't be afraid, I think, to completely think of other ways. You could freelance. There are other ways to grow and to learn and to do work other than interning. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it was helpful to you. Let me know if there are other videos you want me to make surrounding this topic, maybe one on networking. Let me know in the comments if that would be helpful. I am super happy to do videos on this because I feel like things have worked out for me, even though it's been very much ups and downs. I feel like overall very grateful and blessed. So happy to share information that I know. Yeah, so thank you. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I will see you on Friday. Later.